Hi, I'm Peoria Mayor Cathy Carlat. Thanks for joining me for another edition of Peoria Pulse. Throughout the city of Peoria, from border to border, we are connected. As residents, we are bound together by a common thread. Every person who resides here is part of the unique character that makes up our great city. That's why I've launched this series called I Am Peoria. This is an opportunity to hear the stories and learn more about the people who live, work, and play in Peoria. As we kick off this year with our first episode, I wanted to give viewers a chance to hear my story. I'm proud to be able to introduce you to Mr. Ed Oliver. He is typically the magic behind the camera, but today he is front and center. Ed, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. It's a pleasure to be here. I understand you took office as Peoria's first female mayor in January of 2015, and that's quite a historical feat. Tell me, how did you get here? Did you have political aspirations?
Well, first of all, it's really an honor to be Peoria's first female mayor. It's an incredible honor. But political aspirations, no, I actually never had political aspirations, and even to this day I don't have political aspirations. What I wanted to do was make an impact on the city of Peoria, the city that I love. And so to tell you a little bit about how I actually got here to this seat on this day, I'm going to start way back. I was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, quite a long time ago, as a matter of fact. And my family moved us to Phoenix, Arizona when I was a little girl, 1969. So I've seen some big changes in the Valley of the Sun. I grew up running around in the desert. And then when I got older, I decided to spread my wings a little bit, and I picked up and moved to Dallas, Texas. And once I was there and gainfully employed, I met a Texan, and we got married and started raising a family. And we moved to a little town on the outskirts, a suburb of Dallas called Plano. And I lived in Texas for 17 years. They were great years. It was a wonderful place to be, but I never stopped thinking about Arizona as my home. I missed the desert, I missed the mountains, I missed my family. So I was able to get my Texan out of Texas, which I think is a rare occurrence.
Absolutely.
And we moved back to Arizona in 2001, and that's when we moved to Peoria. So there were a lot of great experiences there, but when I moved back to Peoria, I got a job at Central Arizona Project. And as fate would have it, I started working in the same department, the communications department, where then, at the time, brand new council member Bob Barrett worked, and we became friends. So he had been on the Peoria City Council for about a year by that time, and we just started talking about city issues. And I found them to be so interesting. Just everything about municipal government really interested me. How a city can grow, how it could turn out, how it might not turn out if you make different decisions, how the leadership makes a big decision, or excuse me, a big difference in the future. There were just so many variables, and I found it really interesting. So we did that. We had those long conversations for probably about 3 years, and then the city council member in the Mesquite district where I lived was retiring, and Bob Barrett asked me if I wanted to run for office. So it was something I had actually never ever considered in my life, running for political office. But I found myself saying yes. I said yes. And I ran for office that next year. And in 2005, I became the council member for the Mesquite district, the fastest growing district in the city of Peoria, right at the very height of growth, economic growth, not only in Peoria, in the entire state of Arizona. We were one of the fastest growing cities, and that was one of the fastest growing areas. And I just jumped right in. And that's how I got to where I am sitting today. I was the council member for Mesquite for almost 10 years, and then Bob Barrett became the mayor of the city of Peoria, and when his term was over, I ran for mayor. And I have been the mayor since 2015.
Wow.
And here
Well,
we are.
you spoke about you've seen rapid change, major change throughout the valley, all the years that you've been here. And you also referenced your kind of past history and career. How have those things prepared you to meet the demands of leading a city that's as large and growing as Peoria?
Well, that's another bit of a story. I've held leadership positions in various companies, a Fortune 500 company, a commercial real estate leasing company. I worked at Central Arizona Project for 13 years, and all of those things gave me a really solid business background. And they probably helped me to do my job today. But they are not the reason that I ran for this office, and they are not the reason that I do the job that I do today. So the reason that I do is because of a story I'm going to tell you. When I lived in Plano, and I was raising my children, something happened in that town that just changed everything. It was a total game changer. Plano was just a nice little quiet, sleepy suburb. People got in their cars and they drove to Dallas for work every single day, and then they came back every single night. And then Ross Perot moved the headquarters of his company, EDS, Electronic Data Systems, from downtown Dallas to Plano. And he created this huge campus in our little suburb. And then other corporate headquarters followed him. JCPenney's moved from New York, and Frito-Lay moved in, and PepsiCo moved in, and now there's many more than that. But they changed the face of that city. They started donating to parks and to the arts and to kids, sporting teams and to schools. They contributed in so many ways. The quality of life in that city just blossomed. And besides that, people had gainful employment, quality jobs. And the children grew up thinking, aspiring, knowing that they could get those quality jobs and take care of their families. They could go away to college and come back, get a great job, stay in the city of Plano to raise their children. So generations were affected. I wanted that for my kids. I wanted my kids to be able to go away to college, come back, and know that in the city of Peoria, they could have gainful employment, and they would come back here and raise their kids here and keep my grandkids close to me forever. That's the reason that I do what I do. I just have a heart for economic development. I know the changes that can happen and how much it affects the culture and the quality of life of the citizens in our city, and that's what I want for the city of Peoria.
And that's a great picture of the possibilities. And speaking of that, and as we move forward, where do you see that growth taking us?
Oh my gosh, the city of Peoria is in such a great place right now. We have been fiscally sound for many, many years and growing in a nice, neat, organized way from the south to the north, but we're only halfway built out. We are right at the crossroads of who we could possibly be, and that's an exciting place to be. Are we going to stay a bedroom community? Are we going to be a place where people can have employment and where their children will come back and generations will stay and the quality of life will continue to be exceptional? Who are we going to be when we grow up? So if we look at who we've been so far, we've really reached a stage of adolescence. And now it's time for us to go into adulthood. And so creating who we're going to be as adults, who we're going to be at maturity is, you only get chances like this once in a lifetime to make such a great effect on something that you love and for the people that you love. So it's really wonderful to know what the future of the city of Peoria is going to be and to be able to have some effect on that.
That's amazing. And speaking of your heart and your heart for Peoria, I'm sure you have a lot of fond memories. Share one of those memories that really speaks close to your heart about your love for Peoria.
So many wonderful things have happened to me since we've, my whole family has moved back here, but very recently, we were able to expand the Veterans Memorial that we have at Rio Vista Park. I just had a vision for how it could be a place where people could come and really truly meditate and understand how much Peoria thanks them for their service, a place where veterans could really be appreciated. And so we really expanded that entire area. We added a Vietnam veterans area, so many things that we did to grow that. But we also added an area where people can put the name of their loved ones and memorialize them forever. And I was able to have my father's name inscribed on that wall so that he will be there forever. And the service that he was so proud of will always be with anybody who walks by that wall. They will always know that he was a proud man who served the country that he loved. For me, that is the best thing that I could have done in the city of Peoria.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. It's a pleasure to be here to help you do that today.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of Peoria Pulse. Join us again next month to hear another I Am Peoria story.